Vince Lombardi once said, "It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up." If you're like me and my family, football, particularly the NFL, is a major part of our lives for 16 plus weeks out of the year. The food, the beer, the competitiveness of your fantasy football league. It's a sport that brings most people and families together, tears others apart. I have been a Chiefs fan all of my life. I don't know if it's true or not, but my mother likes to tell me that my first word was Chief. But I am not here tonight to talk to you about the game itself. I am here to discuss one particular person. Number 29, safety for the Kansas City Chiefs, Eric Berry. He is much more than an amazing athlete, and tonight I'd like to share with you a little bit of his story. We will be discussing the early years of Berry's life, his trials in beating his cancer, and the Eric Berry Foundation. The first point I would like to discuss is Eric Berry's early years. He was born on December 29th in 1988 in Fairborn, Georgia. He started playing football at an early age, but high school is really where he started to shine. In contemporary Black biography, which is basically a collection of biographies from prominent African Americans in the U.S., explains that Berry first began to receive notice as a quarterback at Creekside High School in Georgia, where he earned all-state honors. During his early years, Berry also was an outstanding track star, getting titles in the 200-meter individual and the 4x100-meter relay. Still, it was a football player where he attracted nationwide attention. By his senior year, he was third ranked in Georgia, third ranked in the country his senior year. In addition, or after high school, he chose to follow in his father's footsteps and went to Tennessee, where on his third collegiate game, he actually intercepted a throw from Tim Tebow and ran it back for a touchdown of 96 yards. So that was pretty exciting there. He concluded his freshman campaign with 5 interceptions, 4th best in the SEC. He also had 222 interception return yards, best in the conference, and the second highest total in the National Collegiate Athletic Association, as well as 86 tackles. At the end of his junior season, he was, once again, every year, he was an All-American. He also won the prestigious Jim Thorpe Award. By this point, it was apparent that Berry was ready to compete on the national level. So in the 2010 NFL draft, he was selected by the Kansas City Chiefs, the 5th overall pick. Now that I've spoken about Eric Berry's early years, let's talk about my second point, his trials in beating cancer. Berry is the heart and soul of the Chiefs in the locker room, outside of it. He is one of the leaders of this football team. But in late 2014, Berry had to step away from football to face his greatest opponent. He was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. In the article posted on BleacherReport.com, Michelle Bruton, I'm just saying that wrong, reported that Thursday, November 20th, 2014 in Oakland, he first began to experience chest pain, and it persisted even after on the way home to Kansas City. So after multiple tests and all different procedures, physicians told him that the mass on the right side of his chest wall was actually lymphoma. The diagnosis is treatable and potentially curable with extensive chemotherapy. So in December, he started chemo, and a little under 7 months of chemotherapy treatments, Berry received the news that he was cancer-free. He was ready to make a comeback. He had fought cancer and won faster than it takes a muscle to repair. Sunday, September 13th of 2015, Berry returned to the field less than 9 months after he had left the game for his first regular season game since November 20th of 2014. Returning to the field signifies the beginning of a new chapter in Barry's life, but it's not the end of his journey that he started in December of 2014. It was just a checkpoint. So since I've covered Barry beating cancer, let's turn our attention to my third and final point, the Eric Barry Foundation. According to the foundation's website, the mission of the Eric Barry Foundation is to provide beneficial opportunities and a safe environment for children to participate in team sports and leadership development programs in order to encourage strength of body, mind, and spirit, of which Eric is a perfect representation of. The foundation offers various youth football camps to children aged 8 to 18 in Kansas City area and as well as his hometown in Georgia. Eric Barry sought to give back to the communities that helped him in his life, and he's done a hell of a job at it. In conclusion, it's not always the stats of the player that make them an inspiration to many. Sometimes it's what happens off the field that matters most. Tonight I informed you of Eric Barry's early years, his trials in beating cancer, and the Eric Barry Foundation. Not only did Eric Barry get back up after being knocked down, he rose above and came back stronger and better than he ever was. Thank you.